Good day everyone and welcome back to the 2021 nest box season. And if you've been following, you know we're following two blue tits in two different nest boxes. Right now we're looking at Biddy and Miley's, and their eggs have just started hatching, so we've got a really exciting video for you guys today. And we can see the new parents here trying to feed their newly hatched chicks. And the responsibility of the majority of feeding is going to fall on Miley's shoulders, as the chicks are only a couple of hours and if even only a day old at this stage. So it's essential for Biddy to continue to brood these chicks to help them keep them warm. We see another chick hatch now, and we see Miley eating some of the eggshell. So let's take a closer look at these chicks. We can see that one egg is still unhatched, but all the other chicks, from what I can see, have hatched. So we're going to have to keep an eye out and try to see just how many chicks there are in this nest. And we see Miley here bringing in some more food, and just look how closely he watches Biddy feeding the chick. These chicks really are tiny at this age, and they're hopelessly dependent on their parents. So this is one of their most crucial moments of parenthood. And just watch the next chick hatch. So these chicks would have a small amount of reserves after just being hatched from the contents of the yolk. But after the fact, they would have no body fat or any reserves to fall back on. And what that means is they need a constant and consistent stream of nourishment coming and passing through them. Even a couple of hours of no feeding can be detrimental to these chicks when they're only a few hours or a day old. And with the first day coming to an end, there seemed to be a consistent amount of food brought into the nest. So how many little chicks do we have? Well, in the next shot here at the end of the day, we actually get a good shot of all of the chicks. So let's take a look. Now, I don't know about you, but I counted 5 chicks there, and if I remember correctly, 5 eggs is what we thought we had, but we could never fully see. So on that same day, what was happening over at Mindy's and Mork's? When we had left Mindy last, she had laid her second egg, and you can see her, she's still bringing up and making improvements on the nest, and trying to hide those eggs from any potential predators that may look in through the nest hole. And it always amazes me just how well they manage to hide those eggs. I have a camera set up looking directly down, and we can't see the eggs there. But luckily later that day she slips up and lets us have a view of the eggs. And there they are, 3 perfectly speckled little blue tit eggs. And I love bird eggs. It's amazing that all the essentials for life is stored in those little eggshells. And that brings us on to the 8th. And just watch what happens here. It's something that you're going to see a lot of in the coming days, but look at this baby blue tit. It does a poo, and it produces what's called a fecal sac. And Biddy actually eats this fecal sac. And I can hear some of you ask now, why in God's name is Biddy eating the fecal sacs of the chicks? Well, these are newly hatched chicks, which means their digestive system is going to be only developing, and means there's going to be some good energy still in those fecal sacs, and they wouldn't want to waste it. And just look here, we have an extra chick. We can clearly see 6 chicks there, and if I remember correctly, we were only seeing 5 eggs, which means we were missing one the whole time, just out of view. So that's 6 hungry mouths to feed. We can see Miley here bringing in a small morsel of food and feeding it to the chicks. And we can clearly see the difference that some chicks are bigger than others, and that's the difference in time from the first hatch to the last hatch. And blue tits really do try to minimize this age gap in their chicks. They want them all to be roughly around the same age. And they do this by incubating all the eggs at once, but you can see that even some chicks hatch earlier than the others, given a day or 2 in the difference, and this can still create a runt of the litter, or a runt of the clutch. And we can see here Biddy settling back down on them to brood them and to keep them warm. And we can see Miley and Biddy here feeding again, and we can see Miley this time taking a fecal sac, and he decides to bring it out rather than eat it. One thing I've noted is I haven't seen a lot of green caterpillars. I think I've seen one so far. But nonetheless, Biddy and Miley seem to be bringing in enough food. And these would include spiders, insects and all sorts of invertebrates that they can find in the trees and bushes and shrubs. Poor Miley sometimes finds it very hard to get the chicks to take the small pieces of food. I've seen this with male birds in the past. It seems to come a little bit more naturally to the females and the males have to learn it. And we get a lovely shot of Biddy and Miley feeding their chicks here, side by side. And the chicks will instinctively know to produce a fecal sac after feeding. And they have evolved to do this so that when they need to go to the toilet, that there's a parent bird there to take the fecal sac away. And this keeps a tidy nest. And I would imagine for a cavity nesting bird like a blue tit, it's very important to keep a clean nest, as the waste would have nowhere to go otherwise, and it would produce a very dirty nest that would 1 smell and attract predators, and 2 would be unhygienic for the chicks. We see Biddy here feeding an ever hungrier brood. But some of the eagle-eyed viewers would have noticed that we still have all 6 chicks, so far so good. So over at Mindy and Mork's, we should be looking at 1 extra egg. We saw 3 beautiful eggs, so what is there now? And there we go, we have our 4th egg. And Mindy keeps tabs on her eggs throughout the day, but really only comes and goes on them, keeping them at a certain temperature but not starting brooding. As she settles down for another night, we expect a 5th egg tomorrow. So back over to Biddy and Miley's, and we see them giving breakfast to their new family. And throughout the day, I only ever see 5 chicks. I'm not sure if I'm just miscounting or one died. I'm not 100% sure, as they don't always gape for food at the same time. And at this age, when they're red, and let's be honest, just little red blobs, it can be very hard to distinguish one from another. And you can see by the light in the nest box that the wind is blowing the trees outside. But nonetheless, we see Miley here bringing in a small morsel of food and trying to get the chicks to feed. We see Biddy here trying to feed her chicks. And you can see even her sometimes finds it difficult to actually get them to take the food. At this stage, the chicks really are only reacting to external stimuli. So that is why she is training them to gape when she chirps. But it seems to be, even though when they gape, they don't always grab the food off the parents. We get another shot in the next sequence of Miley looking very intently as the chicks are being fed. It's really cute to see. I always find these shots very adorable. It seemed to rain for the rest of the evening, and while food was brought in, I did notice it didn't seem like as much food as they would need. So it's going to be interesting to see how the chicks fare out with this forecasted bad weather coming. And we can see Biddy here heading out trying to find some food for their chicks at the end of the day. So how did Mindy fare out that same day? Well, we were expecting a 5th egg, and I have to say, in the morning, I thought she hadn't laid any more. But later on, we managed to catch a glimpse of the 5th egg. So that's 5 eggs for Mindy now. And with that, that's where I'm going to leave it today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you're enjoying the videos, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.